welcome to this lecture. So in the previous lecture we have just updated the coin total with this update coin total function. So what we left here was defining this set level rect. So let's copy that and define it here with this same name and just pass yourself. And the next thing, let me just make here indentation level correct. So here the parameter, second parameter will be level list, is that of creating the level and x and y. So this basically set level rect is to set the location of each individual character. So first that we have to loop in this level list. So I'll say I and later, so get that later, and we'll just loop in this enumerate, and that should be level list, and here enumerate is a iterable. So we're going to get this rect out of this later and get the position x is here. We have to do something that is multiply by some factor, that is I factor here. So how can we do that is, first we have to get this width of this rect, that is from this later width, and just add it by constant displacement here. And now we have to multiply with I. So whole of this width should be now multiplied by, that should be first added by 3 and then multiplied here by something that is I. So let's multiply it, and you should put here extra parenthesis, and it is saying on result because it should be, this parenthesis should be removed, and we're good to go. So what is about y? So just get this rect y assigned as y. So the next thing what you're gonna do is, we'll just check for this later image again, and I'll say just get this later image. If it is equal to self dot dict, and it should be image dict, and in this image dict, if it is, just give this key to reference for this later image, and if it is equal, then just a displacement in y, that is in this rect of y within 7, and in this x, that is dot rect and dot x should be equal to. So this is basically setting us a location of these individual characters here. So we have completed this set level rect now. So what we left here is basically one important function now, and that will be draw function. So let's create this draw function, and this draw function won't be called from here, that is from the initializer of this overhead. So rather this draw function of this info would be called somewhere from the main. So this is a really important function. So this draw function will take the self current object and surface. So surface. So this draw function basically draws the overhead info, and it should be based on the state. So I've already said you about the state. So let's check first state. So what we have here basically is state. So first was basically our load screen. So if it is a load screen, what you're gonna have here is calling the again the new function. So we have to make again the new function here, and that should be a loading screen. So this bunch of this draw function should be called from main. So it won't be called from this initializer, rather it should be called from the main. So this is a really important function. So here a loading screen, let me just give info here because this is referring to this info class. So just pass surface to it. So we have next state, and I'll say that is self dot state here. If it is equal to maybe c dot level, And if it is equal to level, what you're gonna do is we'll just create another function, and that will be drawing the level screen info. So this is to draw the level screen, not load. This will now draw level screen and info. So we have just used here detailed name for the function. So now it's time to create again these two new function. So I'll say else. So let me just pass it here elif, and if it is, let me just go here and just in the else part we'll say pass, don't do anything. So let's define this first, this draw loading screen info. Just let me copy it and paste it here, and we have now draw loading screen info. So obviously it will take self and the surface that we have passed while calling this function. So in this function basically draws info for our loading screen. So for that we'll say for info, so what the info should be drawn, so loop it in self dot score. We have something that is score images, and in this we have to just split, that is split the surface. So first would be something that is a base, so give this info dot image here, and after this we have something that is the way to be split, so it should be letter dot rect. Now the next thing what you can do here is, so let me see, it should not be letter, so it should be info dot rect, and it should be now split in this image, and in this surface basically image should split, and the position would be basically the rect that we have here of this info. Now next thing what you're gonna do is we'll check for the word, and we'll also split that word in that surface, and obviously we'll just create the label and we'll also split that, and we'll also check for the character. So for that we'll just say for word in self dot center labels, we'll just loop it again for letter, so out of this word. So first we have letter word, and after that we'll just get the letter from that word, and that should be split now, that is surface dot split, and let's get the letter dot image here, and in this we have to just split it something that is letter dot rect. So at this position, so rect basically signifies the height and width, so in that position this image, letter image, should be split. So next thing what you can do is we can also check the words basically in our live total level, and we'll also can split that in this word image or in that surface. So for that I'll say for word in self dot live total level, and in that we're gonna just get this basically the surface, and in that surface will split with the word image. Now it should be word image and word dot image and word in the rect. This is our rect position. Now it's time to split. So what we'll split is we'll just split the Mario image at its position, that is surface dot split. So in that surface we're gonna split that is Mario image, and in what position? Obviously in the rect position of the Mario, so that should be it here, rect. Next will be our character image, and that should be here as in surface dot split, and just now it should be first lifetime image. So let's split lifetime image first, and what you should know here, that is lifetime image was some way that we just used to create, that was basically the labels, so you can just use that and split obviously to its rect, that is we have lifetime rect that we created with this image. So next thing what you can do after this is basically you can also bleed the later image. So for that, let me save for label. In label list, we have label list, and in this label list we'll just loop through it and we'll just get the letter in this label. And in that label 2, what you're gonna bleed is you're gonna bleed in this surface, and that should be letter dot image, and the position will be letter dot rect. So we have now this draw loading screen info. So next will be our draw level screen info. Let me just copy it now, and let me go here, down here, and just define and paste it here. So it should be self and surface, that is where we want to bleed basically. And this function, that is this draw level screen info function, draws info during the regular gameplay, and it is really important. So it works during our regular gameplay. So for that, I'll say for info, let me get info in our score image. So score image is visible in our regular game. So while playing the game, we'll see this score image. So we should bleed now in that surface with this bleed function, and that should be info.image to bleed, and in the position, that is info.rect. And similarly, we have a digit after this info, that is basically for this image. We have also the digits, and that should be now in this countdown. If you see here, it should be in this countdown images, and bleed that too by this self.bleed function. And this should be not self, it should be surface.bleed. So bleed me in, that is by this digit image. So it should be digit dot image, and just get that image, because this countdown image is basically just like a list. So we'll just get that image out of it, and this digit rect. In that digit rect, we have digit dot rect, because I've already said you that this countdown image is maintained as a list, and we have created that before. So here is our countdown images, and it is list, and it has contained something that is, you can say that is countdown image, that is image. It will contain image and label. So we have just get the image and the rect here. So next thing, we can just get the character in this coin count image again. So for that, I'll say outside this digit. So let me say that is for character, get me the character in this self.coin count images, that is also a list, and just bleed that in this surface.bleed. And what you're gonna bleed is character dot image, because we have image out of this coin count images. And where you should bleed is we have rect 2 while creating this label. So that should be bleed somewhere, that is character dot rect position. So next thing, what you can do after this can be, we'll just get this label, same as in the case of this draw loading screen info. We'll just get this label in this self.label list, and here we'll just get this letter in label, and we'll just bleed that. So in the surface, it should be bleed with this letter dot image, and we should have letter dot rect. So basically this label list contains again this label, which has basically letter associated with it, and each letter has an image and rect. Basically this image and rect is basically, image is the sprite and rect is the position, and in that position we just basically bleed that image. So this will be the end of this info.py. In the next lecture, we'll just make our main and play our game. So see you in the next.